What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Quick update video, get you guys all caught up to speed. Son of Mexican boxing legend Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., his son, just took to social media and posted this. For my next fight, my official trainer will be Robert Garcia. So he's saying he's going to go down to Oxnard, work out with Robert Garcia for his next particular fight. And I believe he has like a low level opposition. I forgot who they're talking about making a fight with him. Now, I want to give my thoughts on this particular change. Now, I always thought the marriage, the partnership of Roberto Garcia and the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy and Chavez Jr. made a lot of sense because, I mean, they both speak Spanish. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you speak English or Spanish, but my point is you can directly, when you have the language, the common denominator in the language, you can speak to him because Chavez speaks a little bit of English, but his primary language, his first language is Spanish. So you can obviously get to him. You don't need a translator. You could tell him precisely, directly what you want to tell him. So I think that's one good thing. And Robert Garcia is a great trainer. I had the privilege of meeting Robert Garcia, real stand-up dude. All his fighters, Brandon Rios, all the guys, they said that the atmosphere in the Robert Garcia boxing gym feels like family, feels like home, and they like working for Robert because he's kind of like a father figure, not just a trainer. You know what I mean? Different things like that. So I really get that sense. It looks like Brandon Rios enjoys it. If you guys know the backstory with Brandon Rios, Robert Garcia took Brandon Rios in. He's seen the potential with him, and he let him live with his family. So, I mean, he really is like a father figure. So, all in all, Garcia is a very good trainer. But that was some years ago when I was thinking that. Now the difficulty is Chavez Jr. is coming off his first career stoppage loss. He's had losses before, but he never got stopped. He quit on the stool versus Fonfara. His dad said don't fight Fonfara after a long layoff. He did it anyway, and then he ended up quitting on the stool, getting knocked down. First ever knockdown, first ever stoppage, quit on the stool. So it's a very difficult time for Robert Garcia to be picking him up. It's not like when he rectified the Brian Vera loss. I thought he lost the Brian Vera fight, but they gave him the win. But after the first fight, and he redeemed himself in the second fight and did much better, like that would have been a great segue to start working with Robert Garcia. So right now it's just a different and difficult position because he's coming off a bad loss. Now, in boxing, I've been doing this long enough. The thing that really concerns me with Chavez Jr. is I look for patterns in fighters, and I don't like the patterns that I see with Chavez Jr. One, the frequency of switching trainers. Sometimes you got to look, is it really the trainer or is it me? Like, it's not. Manny Pacquiao's been with the same trainer for years. Like, it's one of the longest partnerships in boxing history and stuff. So they've had a successful run. Amir Khan, he was with Freddie Roach, and then he felt he wasn't learning certain things. He's been with Virgil Hunter. Andre Berto had a certain trainer for most of his life. Then he went to Virgil Hunter. That's like a one-time deal. They're not switching trainer every couple years. But guys like Chad Dawson, who is another person notorious for switching trainers. He was with Floyd Sr., this person, that person. It's just, to me, at that level, it seems questionable. It's not like you're playing basketball and you're getting traded to different teams. This is more or less your career, your choice. And you look at Chavez Jr., he was with Freddie Roach. Then after, I think he was with Vladimir Baldenegro. And after that, he was with Joe Goosen. Now he's going with Robert Garcia. And it's in the span of a short period of time. It'd be one thing if Chavez had been fighting since when his dad was fighting all the way till now, and he went through those different trainers. But he went through those trainers since the Martinez fight. You know what I mean? That's not like you've just been fighting. That's a lot of trainers in that period of time. Martinez fight wasn't that long ago. That was probably like 2013 if I had to take a guess off the top of my head. And I might even be right. But it wasn't that long ago. So in 2 years, you're going through that many trainers. You were with Goosen for one fight. I don't like behavior like that because it just makes me, I don't know, it feels like the fighter's in denial. Maybe you're not working hard enough. Maybe it's like a lack of discipline on your behalf or something you're not doing right. You can't just keep switching trainers. That's not, I don't know. If you have to keep switching any type of job, maybe it's not the job, maybe it's the employee. That's what I think. So we all know Chavez Jr. has some discipline issues, and I wish him well. Like, I want to see him do something, and that's really because I have so much respect for his father. But he really has to get his shit together and take this game serious. You can't have 1 foot out, 1 foot in. You can't be worried about being a celebrity and not putting boxing first. Boxing requires discipline. And the patterns, I just don't like them with Chavez Jr. Chavez, the biggest fight of his career at that point was Sergio Martinez. And not even just the biggest fight. Sergio was talking shit. You guys had a face-off together in front of each other, and y'all were talking shit to each other about, he was saying you're overrated and you got handed stuff because your last name. I feel like me being a competitive person and Sergio was talking all that shit, I would want to prove him wrong. But instead, Chavez, he didn't do that. What he did was get embarrassed for 11 and a half rounds before he did something, and then he knocked Sergio down, and he couldn't finish him at that point in the fight because it took too long to do something, and he was getting his head outboxed and his face battered. And then on top of that, come to find out he tested positive for marijuana. Those are patterns I don't like from a fighter, because it seems like the biggest fight of your career and you're worried about smoking weed, whether it's medicinal or not, you have to declare that type of stuff and get it approved and or not do it, period. You know what I mean? You know it's a banned substance. I don't think it helped him in the fight. If anything, it could have hurt him, but it's just like, the rules at this point. So in a lot of ways, Chavez Jr. acts like a spoiled brat. Like I said, I'm open, but I think they're going to match him pretty lightly. I don't think they're going to put him in there with any killers, and we'll see what Robert Garcia can do. But he has his hands full just because, again, I think some of the problem is Chavez Jr.'s mentality and lack of discipline and work ethic. So we'll see what he can do, what Robert Garcia can do. He's a hell of a trainer. He's an underrated trainer. People always talk about Freddie Roach this and Freddie Roach. I think one of those nods should have went to Robert Garcia at some point, because he's a hell of a trainer. But again, the fighter has to be willing to put the work in. And I just, at this point, based on the patterns that I've seen, I don't really know Chavez is willing to do that at this level. You know what I mean? Like, just the patterns of making up your own weight class. You set a weight for the Brian Vera fight, then you couldn't make that weight, and then you made up another weight, and then you didn't look good in the first Vera fight, and then you redeemed yourself, and then you had a long layoff and looked suspect versus Fanfara and complaining to the ref. These are all behaviors and patterns that I don't like to see from a fighter. But again, I'm going to reserve the rest of my judgment. That's my thoughts based on the patterns in the past. We'll see what Robert Garcia can do. You drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.